Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 11 of Film Club. It's the fresh edition where we're talking about something came out in the past few years. Brad here again, and John Eric, how you doing, man?
Hello, hello. I'm good. Yeah, in this case, it's the last few weeks because we literally saw this in theaters. Me and you back at it last Saturday.
This is very true. This is something it's going to be a little bit different of a format today, more conversational, I'm imagining, because I don't have a lot of notes on this other than just collecting my thoughts from seeing the film. The film in question that we're talking about, chat, is obviously Bring Her Back, the 2025 film directed by Danny and Michael Filippo. You may have seen their other film, Talk to Me. I haven't yet. John Eric has. You like that movie?
Yeah,
Correct?
and I loved it. I loved it, and it was like there are movies like Terrifier where they're very, very, very gory and everything, but they don't. It's not even that they're scary, but like the thing about Talk to Me and then leading into Bring Her Back is I remember watching Talk to Me and actually in the theater feeling, like, anxious, like, actually just not feeling like this like, just watching it and just being like, "This ain't right. I shouldn't be watching this. This is just, like, what the fuck?" And then
Yeah.
I know you haven't seen it, so I don't wanna get into detail, but, like, then watching this, which is their follow-up film, like, their second movie, and they dialed it up to 11, like, it's even more anxiety inducing. It's
Yeah.
even more fucked up.
When you mentioned that, it made me think of a scene from this movie that we'll talk about in a bit where it's like, yeesh, yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna be
they
getting
crank it
into
up.
heavy spoilers.
Yes.
Heavy spoilers here.
Heavy
So,
spoilers coming up. So if you haven't seen it, do not come. I repeat, do not continue listening until you've seen the movie, or we're going to spoil it for you. But this is going to be like a discussion about the whole film. So as per usual, other than this is a lot newer than our
mhm,
usual films. So you've been warned. So
yes.
um, basically, the film was directed by the Filippos and written by Danny and a guy named Bill Hinsman. Um, so it's pretty interesting that one of them helped write it as well. It's cool that to be a writer director combo, even if you have a writing partner, that's pretty ambitious.
Twin brothers too. Twin brothers, which is kinda cool.
That is really neat. I couldn't imagine having a. Have to feel that would be contentious unless they're like super close. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
sharing creative vision with somebody else, and they're your twin brother. One of you's got to be like the one
right,
who's
yeah.
always got to be undermined. Maybe they're not.
It's not like the Coen brothers where, yeah, it's like, difference probably only a few years, the Coen brothers, but, like, there've been other brother teams, like the Hughes brothers and other teams, but yeah, it's just yeah, twin brothers, and started out as YouTubers too, which I've been meaning to ever since, Talk to Me, I've been meaning to watch their YouTube videos because apparently they're known as Raka Raka, I guess,
Yes,
and
I've
their
heard
YouTube
of them.
videos were very popular, but they were comedy with maybe horror elements, but, like, you see Talk to Me, and it's got a lot of kind of funny scenes in it early on in certain scenes, but, like, Bring Her Back, other than, like, a few I laughed uncomfortably a few times, but, like, Bring
Yes.
Her Back is not funny.
No. It,
Not funny at all.
it's to generally talk about the movie without like diving right into the spoilers is like it's a super intense, dark, brooding, moody. Um,
Feel Bad movie, I remember reading in the last week. Feel Bad horror
feel
movie of the summer.
it's what everybody wants us in 2025. Apparently, this is what 2025 is serving out on the dinner plate, and the horror fans are eating it up, or they aren't. I don't know.
Eating
Has
it
it
up
been doing
like,
well at the box office? I haven't. I think it's
I
like
haven't really tracked. I mean, our screening was relatively busy. We were in a little bit of a smaller theater, but our theater was relatively busy. I think it's doing well for an 18A rating in Canada. I don't know how strict they are at the theaters nowadays, but like
true, true.
I
That's right.
I don't think it's doing as to be honest, I don't think it's doing as well as Talk to Me.
Hmm.
Because Talk to Me was like A24's biggest movie at the time.
That's fair.
Um,
That's fair. They probably maybe they put more money into that than this one.
maybe, and maybe people are maybe put off by, like, hearing about how intense it is.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, I leading up to it, I knew how intense it was gonna be, and I'd seen, obviously, Talk to Me, so I knew how what they've done before, but even I was shocked at certain scenes, like, there were certain well, we'll get into it in a bit, but, like, yeah.
Yeah, the budget for Talk to Me, at least according to Wikipedia, as I'm looking right now, was 4.5 million for Talk to Me, and that jumped to 15 million for Bring Her Back. But obviously, Talk to Me was a smash hit. Um,
Mhm.
I think Bring Her Back is like pretty much looking like it's breaking even at the box office as we record on this day. Um,
Yeah, I guess has only been,
it
a
hasn't been out
week,
very long,
but
right? So I
no.
guess the audiences are going to inform people, and they're going to make their decision if they want to go see this or not. And um, I don't know. I would recommend going to see this in theaters for the experience alone because it is a very intense film. I don't know if you're going to
Yeah,
get that on a small how some people watch movies
definitely.
these
If you
days.
see it with a crowd too, if you see it with a crowd too, like, I'm glad we went, because I go to a lot of movies, by myself, but this was one of the ones where it was like, I was glad you were there because it was kinda funny, like, having that experience with someone else, and, like, it was just funny because you had that older couple on the right side of you, which I thought at first, I was like, "Are they in the wrong theater?" Because they were old, man, like, they were old.
Yeah,
And then there
they
was that woman, on my side, she was by herself, and she was, it was kinda funny because, like, they were reacting, like, the woman next to me, she was wincing, during certain scenes. Then we had that entire row in front of us of kids that walked out.
yeah.
I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know what, caused that, or if it was too intense for them, or I don't know, but yeah.
Baby wanted a bowel.
It's you can say
Get
that.
out of get out of the bar. If you can't take it, get out of the kitchen.
Exactly.
If
You
people
can say
can't,
this about it, like, it's not a bad movie, like, I don't see them leaving because it's a bad movie. It's definitely starts out where there's not a lot of intense stuff going on right away. It
yeah,
kinda, like, there's just kinda weird shit going on.
yeah,
Um, I wouldn't say it's slow 'cause, I definitely was gripped right away,
yeah. And
but,
the runtime wasn't bad either. It's like an hour 39 minutes. It's pretty quick, although
yeah,
the
yeah, it
pacing of it might be
contains
slow for the TikToker generation, if you will. But
that maybe is why they left.
because there was a lot of like shots that they let you take your time, and they're not specifically like spelling it out for you what's important in the shot. Like when they
Mhm,
pull up to the
mhm.
house. I guess we should maybe give you guys a base outline of what the movie entails. It's two like foster children who get put in a new home because their dad dies in the shower, right?
Mhm.
And their new caretaker is named Laura, and she's played by Sally Hawkins. Um,
Great performance.
she's crazy and creepy, and pretty much from the jump, these two kids, Andy, the older brother, and Piper, the younger sister, who has a visual impairment that is like pretty tastefully done for something that's in a horror film that's dealing with a lot of dark subject matter, right? Like they handle that
Mhm.
pretty well and use it in a couple of really interesting ways throughout the movie. Um, and yeah, you see these characters, as you know, going into a horror film, know that this is probably not going to turn out great for some people, and yeah, shit goes awry, and you kind of know what you're getting into. Well, not exactly, but you kind of know something's not going to, something's rotten in the state of Denmark from the get go when they move in with this new lady, Laura. And yeah, what did you think about her performance and the kids? Everything kosher there?
I like Sally Hawkins has been one of my favorites for a while. I haven't, and I've been meaning to watch the Paddington movies, but I know she plays that. Like, a lot of the reviews on Letterboxd were laughing that, like, "Oh my god, Paddington's mom, how could she be like this?" But I remember one, like a movie I watched in the last few years that I just thought she was so good in was Happy Go Lucky, where she plays this like super positive person, like, is always positive and always happy, and like it literally all the rest of the characters are annoyed by her because she's so happy and so
Oh,
nice,
okay.
and I thought that was a great performance. And then I saw, well, years ago when it came out, I've been meaning to watch The Shape of Water, where she plays a mute, and she knocked that out of the park, and she's great in that movie. And then, yeah, like, I was excited for this movie because I heard that she was plays, like, evil, like an evil person in this, and just from the, like, first few scenes where she's like she takes the photo of, them, and she purposely cuts, what's his name? Andy?
Yeah, Andy, the older brother.
Purposely cuts him out, the older brother, and from like, if you've seen the trailer and from the title, you can get the idea of, like, bringing her back. Like, you know that there's something going on with her and, like, the young Piper, the sister, the younger sister.
Yeah,
But I just from the get-go, I was like, "This is so different for her. This is such a different role from what I've seen of her, and she's nailing it." Like, she plays it so well, the creepy, like, what made Happy Go Lucky so good is she seemed genuinely, it didn't seem like she was being forced happy and forced positive and everything,
okay.
and she nailed that in this because she is doing that in this. She is being, like, playing, like, being forced, like, pretending to be happy and pretending to be this kind woman that takes these is taking these kids in, but she does it so well. She does it so well where it's just like, oh, she's convincing here. She seems like she's being this cool hippie foster mom, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And going in that she's not all that she's cracked up to be, but she does such a convincing job that it's like when shit really starts getting fucked up later on, you're still like, yeah, you believe that she could pull this off because she's the way that what she does and everything. So I thought she was great. And then the kid actors, they were incredible too. They really had a, like, brother and sister relationship was like, they seemed like brother and sister, and, like, they had that really good chemistry of, like, a brother and sister. And yeah, the casting was great.
yeah. I thought they all crushed it. Um,
Mhm.
and then that when they show up there, and you know, their new caretaker Laura played, the creepy lady who's their new foster parent essentially. She's trying to split them up, and you can kind of see how she's playing games against each other, and it starts off so slowly.
Mhm.
And even before that, I guess we should get to, like, the other kid, Oliver. They call him Oliver.
Oliver.
That poor kid. Oh my god. Oliver
Oh
goes
my
through
god.
some torture in this movie, poor fella. Oliver, oh my jeez. Yeah, and you find out, and again, we said spoilers, so we're getting to it. You better press the X button, close it right now if you don't want to hear anything. But man, some of the shit that they put that kid through, or at least that character, right?
Like,
I was like, wow.
my god, yeah, yeah, that's why this movie is like, their trauma is a big theme of this movie because they deal with their dad's death, and then you get into the abuse of, the older brother, that he didn't tell the sister that he was being abused by the dad, and,
Yeah,
but holy fuck, the Oliver character, when you find out that he's a kidnapped kid, that she kidnapped him, it makes Prisoners look like a fucking Disney movie.
so true.
Like
You're the shit hot detective.
like,
Fucking figure out she's abducting these
what's the
kids.
who's the, shit, what's her name from Prisoners? The actress in that. Oh, shit, I guess I'm spoiling Prisoners now too, but, um, the older
Don't
actress in
spoil it.
that, like, yeah. Anyway, though, like, it just yeah, that kid Oliver, by the end, like, even all the kids, like, just what they go through in this movie, it's fucked. Like, that's why this movie is so, it's not a scary movie, but it is such an anxiety-inducing movie, which is that's horror, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, you don't usually see, and you don't really wanna see kids going through what they go through in this movie, and, like, it seems realistic.
Yeah,
Like,
everything
it
that
obviously, it
happens.
gets into
Yeah.
the supernatural, it gets really into the supernatural, but, it seems realistic with what Sally Hawkins does in this movie.
Yeah, that's
I'll get more into that later. There's one thing that I will be telling you for the first time during this recording about our theater experience,
oh
during
shit. Oh,
about one scene in particular.
oh no. Oh. Yeah, I really liked the um pretty much all the characters. Like right off the gate, I didn't like Laura, obviously the abusive
Mhm.
lady, because you get to see these kids if their father died, and now they're already going into like a new situation, and based on what type of movie it is, what you're getting into. This probably isn't going to be all strawberries and orgasms. So they're going there, and when you see the other kid, you know, oh Jesus, and you could tell there's something wrong with the kid because he's okay. Well, you know, Piper has a visual impairment.
He's got
Maybe Ollie's just oh shit. What does she say? Like he's a mute? Does she say he's a mute or something? He doesn't talk.
I think she does. Oh, he hasn't talked since I think since his parents died. She says or something. She
Yeah.
says he hasn't talked since his parents died. I think, but yeah, he's got fucking evil eyes. But that's a credit to the actor because Jonah Ren Phillips. He I've seen interviews now with him. He seems like a good kid, but like his acting in this movie, and he doesn't talk. He doesn't have any lines. Like his facial expressions are fucked. Like his eyes. Oh my god! First scene alone, where he's just standing in the pool.
Yeah. You don't know what's going on, and you just kind of look into his eyes, and you can tell something's really wrong with this character, and it's almost like
Mhm.
through his eyes he's just saying, "Get out of here! Like run while you can." And of course, you know, as that's what's so like you said, it was like an unnerving. This movie's like full of dread and suspense and anxiety because you like know things things are going to happen and they're not going to be super pleasant. So,
Nope.
and yeah, this kind of movie relishes in what's going to happen. And it's all, you know, loosely based in a quasi, I hate to use the term again, but realistic world apart from what's going on
Mhm.
behind the scenes. And, you know, that's kind of what goes into like the later portion of the film or, you know, the whole, you know, again, spoiler alert, but what she's trying to do with these kids is use them to revive or what would you say it is like they never really
Well,
dive into
see,
the details of it. It's very loose, right?
that is the thing. It opens up with I before the credits even. Sorry, before the title even comes on the screen. The first scene of the film, you see an old video of this cult, like a ritual going on,
Yep.
and they're hanging someone. They're hanging someone, and then some big shirtless dude comes up and walks behind it. So it's just kind of like you're watching this and you're thinking, "What the fuck?" But yeah, it's later found out that like, or you slowly start to see that she didn't even want Andy there originally. She wanted just the girl. She just wanted Piper because Piper was going to be part of the plan. It was just going to be Piper, the kidnapped kid Oliver, and that was gonna be the ritual, but then having Andy come in, that puts a damper in her plans, so, like, that's hinted right away where she takes the photo of her and, like, she's covering it. She doesn't want him there. She does
Yeah.
not want him there.
Yeah.
So that's the entire like, it's the movie essentially is that she's trying to get him, out, trying to because he's had problems before with, behavior, and that's why she's trying to get him out of the picture so that she can kill Piper and have Ollie consume her and take over and have Ollie or sorry, I'm screwing this up. Have Ollie consume her dead daughter's body and then well, we've already given the warning about spoilers, but have Oliver consume her dead daughter's body and then transfer the soul into Piper.
Yes. It all sounds
Essentially, right?
convoluted, but it's never really
Yeah, I
like they
I
never
screwed that
spell it
up a
out.
little, but
They never really spell it out exactly how the ritual works either, other than it involves some witchery and some occult like shit, right? She's watched the tapes, you see the tapes a couple times, you get an
yes,
understanding of
if
what the
you're
ritual's
watching
like, but the movie never gets in the weeds, so to speak, about like explaining each detail of like what exactly is happening. It's just, you know, this lady's going to use this kid or wants to use this kid to revive her daughter, her dead daughter, and in doing so she needs these other um children to essentially be part of the ritual, which involves murdering them.
Circle is a big, thing with it too, 'cause it shows some, overhead shots of her home, and there's a huge giant circle where, because I guess her daughter is inside of Oliver, right?
I don't know. I thought about
Is
that
it maybe
thought.
it's a demon? It's a demon maybe? Because she keeps saying, "Wait," because he's hungry and he wants to eat the dead girl, the body. So maybe I guess that's it. See, this is what repeat viewings, like a second
Yeah,
watch would help.
I definitely
Because I
think
know
that
there's the
people
one
dig
scene
into
where
it
he
more.
goes outside Yeah, he goes outside the circle, well, during that fucked up scene, the first fucked up scene in the movie, um, where Andy's left with, Ollie alone and tries to feed him, and it does not go so well. And that
Yeah.
was the first scene where I looked over at you and I was like, "Jesus fucking Christ." He's chewing on a knife,
Yeah.
and that was fucked.
That was the first big WTF moment of this movie was when
Yeah.
I guess we should talk about it. So the Sally Hawkins character, the Laura, the caretaker of these kids, inexplicably has to leave the house with the younger sister, Piper, which leaves the older brother, Andy, alone with our little quasi brain rotted friend, Oliver, who's also at the house, right? And he doesn't speak. And
Locked
already,
in his room, she says, "Don't
yeah,
don't let him out."
she doesn't want these kids talking, so it's like Hitchcock, right? There's the bomb. We know it's there. The audience can see the bombs there. The characters don't know. So we're just waiting for this shit to hit the fan, right? As an audience. I don't know. For me, that's how I felt the whole time leading up to something happening
Mhm,
here. And, you know, the Laura character is diabolical because, like, before she leaves them alone and already starts to split them apart, right? She she
mhm.
pisses his pants. Like, who does that? Like, who throws a shoe? Who pisses somebody else's pants on multiple occasions? The first time she sets it up, you don't even see it, right? I'm assuming that's what the narrative was showing
You
us.
think Yeah, you think he pissed his pants. You just think that's what he did.
Because he is a teenager, and he does get pisser drunk with Sally, which
Mhm.
or so not Sally Hawkins' character, yes, but he gets pissed drunk with Laura in the one scene, which I thought even for kids that's going a bit too far. But what the fuck do I know?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
He trying to be the cool foster parent, but then it's just like, "Ooh, yeah, you guys are getting like this is like a college party."
and and also she's using it manipulatively too, right? She's like, okay, her having them try to do weird shit like kiss your dad on the face at the funeral,
Oh,
his dead
so
dad's
weird,
scene.
yeah.
It was so weird and awkward. And then the next scene, she's like, she tries to happy the kids up because it's something really sad, even though she was like kind of asserting dominance over Andy, right? Then in the next scene,
Mhm.
they're at and then afterwards, she's like, "What do you do for fun? Let's go do all that." And Andy wants to get pissed drunk. And what does she do? She takes this moment to get him pissed drunk, and they all seemingly have a good time. And then she uses the information she gets with him later, which is all like personal backstory about how his dad was abusive to him, and he never, and she uses all these secrets against him later to turn Piper against Andy, and Andy, has a tough time. Um,
That was such a good scene too, where she goes downstairs or she goes into the other room and then she squats down and starts pissing. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on here? What is she doing? And then you just see her going into his room, make sure he's passed out drunk, and then she just puts her piss on him to make it look like he pissed himself. And it's just like, holy fuck, this woman's diabolical.
yeah,
Like,
the step she's willing to go to make it like every optic of the situation appear that this kid needs to get the fuck out of here. He's a problem, and he doesn't need to be
Mhm.
be near this girl because he has had an abusive past. And that's one of the things that I think is interesting about the movie too, because like you remember when the dad dies, and then
Mhm.
Andy's talking to Piper, and there's like a shot of a plane flying overhead, and he says something like,
Yes.
"Oh yeah, it's just like what does he say? It's like, I think you got
Uh,
an airplane, or you
that's
got
like
like a
dad.
plane go to heaven or something."
Yes, that's dad going to heaven. Yeah.
Yeah, which the shot repeats later in the film that hits like a fucking Mack truck when you see it.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and we'll get to that
The
soon
bike.
too. But yeah, that scene. I guess we should talk about the big cringe scene is when um, Sally Hawkins's character is taking the girl out so she can have one-on-one time, doing nice things with her and winning her over so she can eventually kill her. And then uh, in the meantime, Andy and Oliver
Oh, yeah.
have a
Yeah.
little Andy tries to get some information or to figure out what the hell's going on with this weird kid, and it ultimately ends up with some fruit on a knife, and which is like the one
Yeah.
scene in the movie that was like, I know what they're doing with this when it happened, but why the hell would you hand a knife to a kid? Because like the way it was shot is that he's handing this piece of fruit over to this kid, but it's on the end of like a large kitchen knife.
Steak knife.
Yeah,
Yeah. Kitchen knife.
and he hands it to this kid who hasn't said a word and looks like He could be possibly the spawn of Satan. We're not too sure. Something's wrong with him though. And he just says, he even says the line like just before it happens, doesn't he? He's like, just the fruit though, Ollie. And then you start hearing these grotesque fucking noise. I thought Andy was gonna get stabbed in the back there the first,
I thought he was gonna get stabbed too, or
because he
I
turned
I
his
thought he was
back.
gonna stab his hand. I wasn't expecting what I started to hear, and then, like, oh,
He
yeah.
hands this kid a knife. He turns his back on the kid. You go, okay, this is where like the suspense is starting to hit you, because you're like, it's something's gonna happen here. And yeah, that's when the great audio and like sound design of this movie comes into play, and you see what this kid's doing, and he's biting into the knife and chewing on it, and it's going into his face, and blood everywhere, and it
Yeah.
is a gnarly scene. And this is coming from a person who doesn't usually get bothered by a lot of gore. Like you said before, we've watched the Terrifier films. We've seen some.
Yeah, you think you're desensitized, and then you see something like that, and it hits you, and you're just like, "Holy fuck."
The sound of flesh ripping apart. It wasn't on my bingo
Yeah.
card for this movie, but they did it multiple times, because you have him biting into the knife, and then of course Andy is trying to stop this poor kid from doing whatever the hell is, you know, making him want to
Mhm.
act this way, acting out in like a way that he's, being suppressed, or there's something that's inside of him that wants to get out, or you know what I mean. And then
Yep. Oh, yeah.
that's when you see him run out, and that's when, of course, the perfect timing, almost as if the Laura character planned this. She gets back with the sister, and Ollie's in the front yard, and Andy's got him trying to stop him from convulsing because the kid's bleeding everywhere, and he's just trying to get a hold of the
He's also
situation.
he's also outside of the circle, which, is a big no-no for Laura because, he is possessed by something. Can't remember whether it's her dead daughter yet or it's just a entity or whatever. I think it's her daughter, or at least she thinks it is. But as soon as he's outside the circle and he's got him outside the circle, all the actual real Ollie starts to come back.
That's true.
Starts to like the real kidnapped kid starts to come back. That's when Laura freaks the fuck out because she's like, "Oh, he's taking him outside the circle."
This is going to spoil her
And
plans.
that's a really interesting scene too because that's the first time you see it's just like, "Oh, there's something that like yeah, that this kid isn't just a fucked up kid. It's there's something because I think he said I don't know if he says help me or something, but he starts to come like the actual Oliver starts to come out when he's outside of the circle, and that's when Laura they come home and she freaks the fuck out. So
And
I thought
then,
that was great.
yeah, that was so good. And then again, of course, it bastardizes Andy. It makes him look like the bad guy again, so it works perfectly for her plan. Um,
It does. Yep.
and then, yeah, this movie is super intense. It's gory at times. There's another scene where Oliver bites into the countertop. Like,
Starts the wood starts splintering.
unsettling
Then he starts
imagery.
eating his own arm.
Yeah, it
Uh,
starts to go
yeah, I
unfreaking hinged.
I got anxious. This is what I was saying, hinting about earlier. I got anxious during Talk to Me, and that was one of the few times in like in a horror movie recently that I've actually gotten anxious. I actually had a mini panic attack during this movie where I was like, it was right before it's the scene where where Laura puts on Andy's cologne,
Oh, yeah.
puts on his cologne.
That
And
was
I actually was
brutal.
thinking to myself, it was just like with the piss, except way worse, because I was like, "What is she planning to do here?" And I actually I was thinking in my head, "I this is fucked. I can't see what she's about to do. I don't wanna see what she's about to do." Because for me anyway, I'm used to, like, Terrifier with teenagers, getting fucked up and teenagers, like, chainsawed up, and I'm desensitized to that shit, but, like, a little kid, a little girl, I'm like, "What is she about to do?" And I actually felt, like, uncomfortable. I was like, "Do I get up and just go to the washroom?" I haven't done that in years for a movie. I was like, "Do I just get up and just take a breather?" I was like, I'm tempted to here. I was the closest I've ever been to walking out of theater for a few minutes because I was just like, "I don't this is fucked. I don't know what she's about to do." And then when she does what she's about to do or what she does, it's just like, "Oh, my fuck." Like, just cold cocks her. She punches her in the face, and
Yeah, the sleeping little
yeah,
sister
that was
gets punched in the face.
yeah, when mhm, and makes and Laura does it to make it look like Andy did it, and that is just the brilliance of this movie. Because like, I can't say it was scary, but at the same time, I guess that is true horror because I got anxious as fuck when she put on his cologne.
Yeah, it wasn't. I was pleasantly surprised because I didn't know too much going into this movie, so I kind of went into it
Mhm.
blind. Apart from knowing that it's something to do with, yeah, I saw the poster and I think I saw like 30 seconds of the teaser trailer or whatever it was, and I turned it off because I'm
I
like,
posted something on Instagram.
yeah,
Yeah, I
I
posted
saw
something on
something,
Instagram
I
too
saw,
about, like, reaction. Yeah.
but like yeah,
I was
it kept me
prepared
on
for
the
the
edge of my
gore because
seat.
of Talk to Me. Oh, yeah. I was prepared for the gore, because of Talk to Me. So, like, I was still, like, cringing in my seat during, like, the knife and the eating his own flesh and, like, shit like that. I was cringing, but, like, I was not prepared for, like, some of the shit that happens where it's just like, "Holy fuck, this woman is evil. This woman is pure evil."
When the foster parent, yeah, when Laura punches Piper in the head when she's sleeping, and then makes it out to be Andy, and then she puts his cologne. Yeah, you see the cologne go on first, so you're questioning
Mhm, and she
what's
does it
next.
so convincingly too. It's such a convincing, like, take out the ritual, take out the cult. You can actually believe that actual foster parents could do this, like, stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, especially to, a blind girl.
yeah, it's not it's not right, man, and you feel bad for her too because like, oh
Yeah.
my god,
No,
she
you
can't
really
see.
do.
She's like,
Yeah.
I had, and of course she puts the cologne on to appeal to her sensories and her sniffer,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's, man, it's dark. It's dark and unsettling. I'm glad
Oh,
this movie wasn't an Ooga Booga movie though, like a jump out, like, a lot of those, a lot of movies nowadays too, that annoy me when they're newer horror films is like a lot of jump scares and a lot of loud sounds.
jump
But it's,
scare after jump scare after jump scare, yep.
I like this type more, especially in Bring Her Back.
Mhm.
What I think it does so well is even if the payoff isn't as crazy as, oh my god, somebody got their head cut off and then it went through a meat grinder and then they set the building on fire with explosives, and you know what I mean. But the build up in the suspense and like the threat of like what's about to happen next, and it's all kind of in like a, you know, a relatable environment, right? Like it's all in a home. Essentially, 90% of this
Yeah,
movie is like,
exactly.
yes, you open when their father dies at the beginning. You open at their place and them being kids. It's, and interacting with some kids, other kids, but then going through like the social, seeing the social worker who later, you know, the second you find out that
Or
Andy,
weed.
yeah, so later in the movie, yeah, the poor social worker who finally goes to the house because Andy gets some dirt on Laura. Um, and yeah, what was he at the police station? And there's
And he
he
sees a missing, photo of the Oliver kid.
and you realize, yeah, the kid's name's not even Oliver. It's something else. I can't remember the name on the, but then okay, we're in trouble here. We're shifting gear, and then what the movie does next is crazy. Um, because then the social worker goes there,
Yeah.
and you pretty much know the social worker's batting 1,000 on certain death, certain demise, right? Because this
Mhm,
character never
mhm.
makes it out in these type movies. But what they did next and how they did it was fucking crazy to me. And then, spoiler alert, if you haven't heard spoiler alert
Yeah.
enough times so far, um, yeah, they pretty much figure out everything. Andy shows the social worker what's going on there as Laura's distracted, trying to hide all the mess that has been made and the chaos that ensues up till the movie at this point. And then, as the social worker and Andy are going to get the hell out of there, Laura gets in her car and smokes both of them. And
Runs them down.
the social worker is pretty much gets the worst of it. Andy's on the ground and probably multiple things broken. Uh,
Dying, yeah.
and then, yeah, he's bleeding out, and she drowns him in a puddle at the end of the. And this is where it's like, holy shit, this movie.
I was not expecting that. I was expecting him to either, I guess not live well, I didn't expect her hand to just push him into the water, and I was expecting something to come out like, yeah, like, that was just fucked. That was another crazy, like, long take scene that was just so well done.
Yeah, you think, you say,
Because
okay,
it's
she's
like you
coming.
said, you knew something was gonna happen. You knew something was gonna happen when, like, um, when the social network, oh my god, social worker figures it out, and she actually starts to believe Andy, and, like, you know something's gonna happen. You know that she's probably gonna die, but, like, the car coming out, like, it just happened, and that happens a lot in movies too, but, like, the way that it comes about, it was so good, so,
Surprising. Yeah.
unexpected, especially well, especially Andy getting it too, because you expect them to, like, at least just kill Wendy, like, to for Wendy to get hit, but for the fact that, like, they both get hit and then, like, he's dying on the ground there, and then all of a sudden the hand comes down and starts to drown him, it was just like, "Oh my god,
Yeah, he's
here we
wheezing
go."
like he's
He's the
bleeding.
main character of the movie.
Yeah, like if anything, that would be like the critique I could have from this movie for it not being like a perfect or like near perfect score would be just the whole him. Not that he dies. I don't have a problem with that. It's just that
Mhm.
um he's wheezing, he's on the ground, she drowns him, all this stuff. I almost thought at one scene they show a lot of him in the earlier part of the movie working out and lifting weights and all this shit. I'm like, does he have a chance? Is he gonna like somehow get out? And then when he dies, I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, maybe the ritual is gonna happen at the end. And this is just my dumb ass, but I was like, maybe she's gonna find a way to turn this around because as you can see by the end of the movie, um, Laura pretty much gets what she wants, most of it. She gets rid of the social worker, she gets rid of Andy, and then she goes to
Mhm.
take care of Piper, and Piper figures this shit out from some stuff.
Grapefruit. Yeah.
Yeah, grapefruit, and so the hunt's on, and she discovers her stepbrother's fucking dead, which is like a really having to feel. Could you imagine like just that scene like rocked me? I was like, could you imagine you think something bad's happened to your stepbrother and you have to literally feel their lifeless dead body on the ground and have to feel it out and feel when she felt his teeth and like he had braces. I was like, oh, that was like a life hammer, dude. That hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're just like, this is a little
It was
girl. It's like, this is not this. Oof, it hurt. And
she's goes through the ringer, and she's gonna be in therapy. That character is gonna be in therapy, yeah, for the rest of her life. That's why it is the feel bad movie of the year, but like,
true,
as
yeah.
much as I would've as much as I would've liked a happy ending and have Andy I guess they could have done that, right? They could have had a happier ending, but I thought the way that they did end it was still perfect in my mind.
Yeah. I just yeah, it's not really a critique because spoiler
Mhm.
alert, as we're getting to it, pretty much at the end of the movie, Piper does at the last moment when Laura's going to drown her and do this stuff. Piper kind of
She
goes
kinda
along
pulls
with
a
it.
Martha.
Yeah,
She kinda pulls a Martha. She
she
says
tricks
she
her.
doesn't say Martha, but
Why'd you say mom? Mother. She calls her mother finally, and then a little bit of reverse Norman Bates, if you will. But she
Mhm.
she says mother, and
And I
this
thought
makes
that
Laura
worked.
happy.
I thought that worked. I know a lot of people are criticizing that. They didn't like the payoff of the ending. They didn't like that Laura all of a sudden becomes good and lets her. But I thought that that made her show like that she was once human. Like she was once a good person and that she let her grief of her dead daughter take over and make her do evil things. And that's why I thought that was perfect. Because I'm making fun. I'm saying it's like Batman versus Superman, but like I thought her saying mother and calling her mother, like, that would trigger her to be like, "Oh, fuck, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing?"
It
Like, she
probably
has gone
reminded
that
her
far,
of her actual daughter at that point,
yeah,
as
and
opposed to wanting to
I
bring
do
her back.
agree with people, like, she has gone so far, so, yeah, like, why would she all of a sudden turn on a dime? I do get that argument, but for me, I thought that was really good because I really like that final shot of her, like 'cause she's already dying. Ollie's already, like, gnarled up her hand, and
Yeah,
she's, Uh, she's already dying, so I thought that that was a good final shot of her with her actual real daughter, or the dead, like, eaten up body of her daughter. The final shot of her in the pool
yeah,
laying next
yeah.
to her, it was like no, that's for me, that was good kind of like a full circle, pun intended, I guess, because circles are a big deal with this movie, but
True.
that was like a full circle thing with her character because. That worked out well, I think, because there's no way that Piper was going to overpower her because Piper's such a like, she's a little girl, right? So,
Yeah. Well,
um
Andy's only supposed to be like what, 15 or 16. Like Piper's.
No, he's turning 18 because that's the thing where he's remember he's gonna take over guardianship, and she's like, no, that's not gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, that ain't gonna fly on my watch. Yeah, okay, yeah, and I remember that. Yeah, that's
Right.
pretty
So,
interesting too. Jeez.
mhm.
The cyclical or the circle, that's also like, yeah, around the house, and then I guess you
Mhm.
can kind of tie that in too, because like one of the most so the way that, yeah, the end of the movie, I guess some of the critiques could be maybe you don't like how the movie ends, or the way it goes after the demise of Andy, because then you have a lot of the narrative of the first however many minutes this happens into the movie is kind of from the perspective of Andy. Um, so when he dies,
Mhm.
you're like,
Yeah,
holy
absolutely.
shit, where are they going with this story now? And Piper doesn't really, I wouldn't say she doesn't have any character, but she doesn't have a big character arc as much as Andy does in this movie. So when Andy dies, I was like, holy shit, where's Piper? Like what you said earlier, like Piper's gonna have to go. We need a sequel. We need Bring Her Back too. And this time Piper's back, and it's her or some, I don't know, but like I want to see what happens to this kid now, because she's gonna need many years of therapy. Like where's she gonna be when she's
Oh, yeah.
15 or
Well,
20
that
years down
like,
the road?
it's like, you could either go like you could have had the bad ending, like sorry, the, ending where Laura wins and she takes over her body, which I was like, I hope that it doesn't end that way. I hope it that because especially when Andy dies, you think, "Oh, is that gonna be the way that they end this ending?" And then they could have had the happy ending where Andy lives and him and Laura. But again, like even though I did really want that and I hated that Andy died, I do get that like that kind of would have been too happy.
True.
So you kind of get the in between where you get Laura's dead now and Piper's by herself, but it's kind of like a feel good. It's a good bad ending because she's so like the final shot, of it, like you said before, about the plane is the final shot of her is listening. I think she's listening to the recording he made
Yeah, when Laura's
before
hiding his
he was
phone.
trying to get her. Yes, and final shot you see of Piper is her looking just fucking devastated outside of the car and looking at a plane.
A plane flying to
So it's
heaven.
kind of and she's in the family that picks her up, but she's probably gonna go back into the foster, system again, and so you really, really want this girl to be okay.
It's a
It's
bleak
fucking
ass
weird.
ending.
Same with Oliver too. The
Yeah.
kid, the last thing you see of Oliver is he's freaking on the ground, convulsing because he's outside the circle, and now that it's he's back to his normal, but he ate a little girl, a
Yeah.
dead body of a little girl. Like, this poor kid, I guess he wouldn't have any memory of that, but fuck me, like,
They
then
don't
he's gonna
ever
be
dive
scarred for
into it,
life.
right?
He's gonna have the knife wound on his mouth for the rest of his life. "Oh, how did that happen? Oh, yeah, I was chewing on a knife."
Yeah, that's
Oh.
just classic dinner talk, right? Every time somebody hands you a fruit on the end of a kitchen
So
knife, it
this
just brings you back.
yeah. So it's just I do get where
It
it's
brings me
like,
back.
this is the feel bad movie of the year,
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. It's a bleak ending, and like yeah, when Andy
but it's
dies
just
too,
so
it's
good. I still loved it. Oh, yeah.
when Andy dies, and then you also get like that. I don't know what you'd call it, but like the storyline of like he's trying to redeem because in the past he had a troubled past as well, and he does kind of get his redemption
Yep.
because Piper knows at the end that he wasn't the one doing the shit that Laura was saying. So
Everything.
even in death, he still got that truth out to Piper, and so the lineage of abusiveness that stemmed from his father and then went into him is kind of, I'd say almost neutralized. It
Mhm.
doesn't take back the bad things you did, but I mean, him going out in a good way, and also his stepsister knowing that he was actually doing the right thing and trying to be protective of her, um,
Yep.
is
The
a
protective
very,
brother, yep.
very bittersweet ending. And I think
Mhm.
the characters that are set up in this movie, like the Oliver character, or I can't remember the kid's real name because we find out Oliver's not his real name. He was like
Yeah, that's
missing,
right.
and Laura is hiding him for who knows how long. And now Piper going into the world with all this trauma that she's experienced, I think does have a lot of potential for a sequel if you did something years down the line. But as a movie itself, I absolutely fucking love this film. It was intense. It was creepy,
Me too.
unsettling.
Yeah.
There yeah,
You
again,
could get like what you're saying, if they did a sequel, you could get more into the ritual and the cult if it was a cult. Like, where the fuck did she get this VHS tape of this previous, you know, how to bring your loved one back from the dead? Oh, you have to recreate how they died. So
how
you're
to
right.
bring your dead
You could
relative.
get in. Like where did she get this? Like, who did she talk to? Um, that gave her this. So like, because she obviously she got it from somewhere.
Yeah.
Was it online? Was she in a chat room? Was she in a group? Like,
And the one
so
scene, she's making the
you're
kid
right.
watch it too, right? Like when she's Owen Oliver's having one of his bad
Yeah.
times, she's like watching it and she's like rubbing his head and she's like calming it down. And it's like, I didn't, it, they never like spelled all that out, but there's so much left to be explored that it leaves you,
Right.
you're not left in the, mystical, smoke and mirrors aspect of what's going on with the occult and how does it all make sense, but you're more so wrapped up in the emotion and the trauma and the anxiety of what the Filippo brothers are doing here. And that's why I thought it was a great movie in
Mhm.
theaters, and I loved when the old people, I think the highlight of the movie for me um was just the overall vibe of it, and also the
Mhm.
gore when the kid's ripping his arm apart and the old people beside me were squirming in their seat and they were doing the ooh, and they were kind of moving around all unsettled. And I remember looking around and there was a lot of people visually, because like you hear like flesh ripping and all this, you're seeing nasty shit going on. The kid's ripping his skin
Oh
off
yeah.
his arm and all this chunks of meat are coming off. You're like, ugh. Yeah, it's very visceral, but um also very like cerebral and bleak. So yeah,
Mhm.
pretty much what you said. It's the feel bad movie of the summer. It's down, but it's for
But I'm
horror.
so
This is
glad I
good.
saw it. Like, it just it didn't even put me like, it put me in a bad mood, and I or not sorry, not in a bad mood, like, it did drain me. Like, I remember looking over at you. I take videos of, short videos of the credits, and I just remember, like, looking over at you and just being, like, kinda laughing and just being like, "Holy fuck," like, I feel like we'd just been put through the ringer.
Yeah,
But I mean, it was one of those things where it was like I was so glad that I had been put through the ringer, because that's what you want from a movie to do, right? You wanna get those kind of reactions from movies. That's why we go to the movies. So, if I go to a comedy movie, I wanna laugh, and if I go to a horror movie, I wanna be uncomfortable. I wanna have that experience where I'm watching shit that is not not what I'm used to, not what I'm, so that's why I give it a 5 stars, because that's what I thought it was just so perfectly made in that sense.
I would agree with you. I gave it like really close to that.
Mhm.
I think I gave it
You
like a
gave it a
4 point.
4.5, which
Yeah,
I like. Yeah.
I thought a few things at the ending could have been a bit more, but again, I respect that what the filmmakers did because they're not answering
Mhm.
all the questions. They're leaving some things ambiguous, and I like it. It didn't get into the weeds, focus more on the dread. So I think it was a very good film, and I'm gonna go search out Talk to Me now and put that on my to watch list. Um,
You have to, and then we will have to watch, Talk to Me Too, which it's funny you were mentioning this having maybe a possible sequel, because I was thinking, like, when I got home, last week when we finished it and I got home and I was thinking about it, and I never even thought about maybe having a sequel to this, but I thought the same thing about Talk to Me, and then Talk to Me 2 was announced, and it was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess they could get in more." And now that you just mentioned a few minutes ago, like, that they could have a sequel hypothetically to this, obviously, I don't know if it could be the same characters, but, like, yeah, it could be done, I think, 'cause you could get more into the cult, and so that's interesting.
yeah, you can build up on the lore a
I'm
little
just
bit, play with
excited.
different characters.
I'm really excited to see what the Filippo brothers do. Like, obviously, their next movie is going to be Talk to Me Too, but that's only going to be their third movie. And honestly, for me, like now, I think I gave Talk to Me 4 out of 5. Maybe I might have given it a 4.5, because I thought it was great, but I thought I definitely had problems with it.
Hmm.
And I'll have to rewatch it because I've only seen it the one time in theaters, but I'll have to rewatch it before part two. But I thought this was just a more almost mature movie for them, and it was only their second movie, so I can't wait to see what they do in the next few years. I know they were gonna do a Street Fighter movie, which is insane.
Oh boy, Good God, I
They
don't know
were
what they're gonna do
originally
with
tapped to
that.
do Street Fighter. They were originally tapped to do Street Fighter, and I was reading they had to drop out, and it wasn't creative differences. I think the scheduling just didn't work out.
Okay.
But they said that they were kinda bummed that they couldn't do it because they were already doing, like, location scouting and everything. So, I'm I'm very excited to see what these brothers do in the next few years because, Talk to Me 2 will be good. Or I guess it's called Talk to Me,
Oh, jeez.
2 is the Talk to Me, yeah.
Clever.
But after that, like, I can't wait to see what their 4th film is gonna be and what their 5th film, like, these guys are exciting, and I was super excited for this movie, um, and it didn't disappoint me, so, yeah.
High praise. High praise come from the man himself. Shit, man. Yeah, I'm excited too. This movie impressed me, and I'm behind your sentiment 100%. These guys are some crazy ass filmmakers out there doing some wild things, and I didn't expect them to
Mhm.
go where they did in this film. And yeah, it's one of those movies you don't
It's
watch,
so
you
funny
survive.
when Yeah, it's really funny what you just said, reminded me of something else I wanted to say, like, thinking, like, that's really not kind of or sorry, it has been done before where you have, like, possession movies where it's called Bring Her Back. You can get the idea within the first few minutes that this woman is trying to, "Oh, I used to have a daughter, and she was around your age." So you can get that feeling that this is gonna be a possession where she's trying to bring her daughter back, and she's gonna use her as a sacrifice, this daughter. That's been done to death. Ghostbusters 2 did it with Vigo trying to possess a little baby, right?
Yeah.
He's Vigo. He's trying to possess the baby, and, like, it's been done before, but the way they do it, it's like what you were saying is that just the execution and the way just gnarly stuff that happens in this movie, you don't see coming, and so even though it's kind of a basic thing of possession and bringing the dead back to life in another body, a living body, that's been done to death, but the way that they did it is so fresh and new that I feel like they could do anything. They could adapt Street Fighter and make it super cool and, yeah.
Hells yeah, man. I agree. Like that's the way they bring you said they freshen up an idea that we've seen done to death before, but the characters make it uh you know spellbinding. You can't take your eyes off of it, and you're
100%.
in that world. You're in that world. You don't watch this movie. You survive it. You get through it, and you come out of it, and you go, "Whew, that was heavy." I
Yeah.
remember I thought after watching it with you, uh, I thought of it for like the next several days. I'm like, I don't think we should talk about this
Mhm.
yet, and because there's some stuff I was like, damn, but yeah, good ass movie. I don't think I have anything else. So
No, that's all I got.
sweet, man. Well, another episode of Film Club in the books. Bring Her Back by Danny and Michael Filippo, 2025.
Film
Damn good
Film
movie.
Club Fresh.
Film Club
Damn
Fresh.
good movie.
Certified fresh. Anyways, thanks for listening, folks. Hit the like, subscribe button, leave a comment if you're still listening, watching. Always appreciate the support. We're going to be following up with another episode soon, so stay tuned. Anyways, have a good night. Brad, out. See you, John.
Yeah.